Imagine a world-class orchestra performing a perfect symphony. Every instrument perfectly timed, every section in perfect harmony. At the center stands the conductor, small in stature but in complete control of the entire performance. The conductor is the pituitary gland. Roughly the size of a pea, yet it controls the full hormonal orchestra of your entire body. Growth, reproduction, metabolism, stress response, and even thyroid function. In this episode of Endocrine Mastery, we'll explore how the pituitary acts as the master conductor, turning signals from your hypothalamus into coordinated hormonal actions throughout your entire system. The pituitary gland is a small, pea-sized structure located at the base of the brain, sitting right below the hypothalamus in a bony cavity called the sella turcica. Despite its tiny size, it has an enormous job. It's divided into two distinct lobes. The anterior pituitary, front lobe, produces and releases several major hormones that control other glands. The posterior pituitary, back lobe, stores and releases hormones made in the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus and pituitary work as a tightly connected team. The hypothalamus sends releasing or inhibiting signals, and the pituitary translates them into action by releasing hormones into the bloodstream. Let's break down the major hormones the anterior pituitary produces and why they matter for bodybuilders and anyone serious about optimizing their physique and performance. Growth hormone, GH, one of the most powerful anabolic hormones. It drives muscle protein synthesis, promotes lipolysis, fat breakdown, and accelerates recovery from intense training. Higher natural GH output is a major reason why some people build muscle and stay lean more easily. Luteinizing hormone, LH, and follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, known as the gonadotropins, these are critical for reproductive health. In men, LH stimulates the testes to produce testosterone, the primary driver for muscle growth, strength, and libido. FSH supports sperm production. In women, they regulate estrogen and progesterone. When these are suppressed, natural hormone levels drop fast. Thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, this hormone tells your thyroid gland how much T3 and T4 to produce. These thyroid hormones are the master regulators of your metabolic rate. When TSH signaling weakens, your metabolism slows, making fat loss harder and energy levels lower. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, this stimulates the adrenal glands to release cortisol and other stress hormones. In the right amounts, it helps manage training stress, but chronic elevation from aggressive cuts or overtraining can lead to muscle breakdown, fat storage around the midsection, and impaired recovery. Prolactin, while best known for its role in lactation, elevated levels can suppress libido, reduce testosterone, and affect fertility and mood, something to watch during high-stress periods or certain compound use. The posterior pituitary doesn't produce hormones itself, but stores and releases two key ones made in the hypothalamus: oxytocin, which influences social bonding and stress reduction, and vasopressin, ACTH, which regulates water balance and blood pressure. Together, these hormones allow the pituitary to fine-tune nearly every major physiological process in your body, from building muscle and burning fat to managing stress and reproduction. As the master conductor, the pituitary doesn't create the music on its own. It interprets the hypothalamus's signals and directs the entire hormonal orchestra with precision. During an aggressive cut, the hypothalamus senses lower energy availability through reduced leptin and other signals. It responds by sending fewer releasing hormones to the pituitary. As the master conductor, the pituitary faithfully follows these cues and downregulates its own output. Lower LH and FSH leads to significantly reduced natural testosterone production, which can make it harder to maintain muscle mass and strength. Lower TSH leads to slowed thyroid output, reduced T3 and T4, which lowers your overall metabolic rate and makes fat loss progressively more difficult. Sometimes elevated ACTH leads to increased cortisol release from the adrenals, which can promote muscle breakdown and increase abdominal fat storage and impair recovery. All of this is the downstream effect of the hypothalamus flipping into survival mode and the pituitary conducting a more conservative energy-saving symphony. On the flip side, during a proper bulk with consistent calorie surplus and good nutrient availability, the hypothalamus sends stronger releasing signals. The pituitary receives this abundance and responds by amplifying its output. This creates a far more anabolic environment, higher growth hormone release for muscle growth and recovery, better LH and FSH output supporting natural testosterone levels, and optimized TSH signaling for efficient thyroid function and metabolic rate. The conductor is now leading a powerful, energetic performance that favors muscle building, strength gains, and overall adaptation. This is why well-structured bulks with proper energy balance tend to produce better long-term results than aggressive yo-yo dieting. Many compounds we use in bodybuilding directly or indirectly influence the pituitary gland, the master conductor, by changing the signals it receives from the hypothalamus or by overriding its normal output. Growth-related peptides such as GHRH analogs like Sermorelin or CJC1295 and growth hormone secretagogues like Ipamorelin work upstream. They stimulate the hypothalamus to release more GHRH, which then signals the pituitary to increase natural growth hormone pulses. This amplifies the conductor's anabolic section without completely shutting down the axis, supporting better muscle growth, fat metabolism, and recovery. Appetite-regulating peptides such as Retatrutide or other GLP-1 GIP agonists affect the pituitary more indirectly. By dramatically reducing hunger and altering energy balance signals, they influence how the hypothalamus perceives available fuel. This can lead to downstream changes in pituitary output, often resulting in lower GH and reproductive hormones during deep deficits as the conductor shifts the orchestra towards energy conservation. Anabolic steroids create the most powerful negative feedback loop. When external androgens flood the system, the hypothalamus senses high hormone levels and sharply reduces GnRH release. This tells the pituitary to cut back on LH and FSH production. Over time, natural testosterone production drops significantly and the testes can atrophy from lack of stimulation. The conductor is essentially being told, "We have enough music already," and quiets the reproduction and anabolic sections. This is exactly why proper post-cycle therapy, PCT, and adequate time off are essential. The pituitary needs time and the right signals, often supported by compounds like SERMs or HCG to resume normal function. Without this recovery period, you risk prolonged low testosterone, poor recovery, and diminished long-term gains. The pituitary gland is the master conductor that turns hypothalamic signals into real hormonal action throughout your entire body. It doesn't just passively follow orders. It translates, amplifies, and directs a complex symphony that controls muscle growth, fat metabolism, reproduction, stress response, energy levels, and long-term adaptation. Understanding this hypothalamus-pituitary relationship is incredibly powerful for anyone training seriously. It explains why aggressive cuts often lead to crashing energy, reduced strength, stalled fat loss, lower libido, and that general feeling of your body fighting against you. It clarifies why recovery after anabolic steroids can take weeks or months. The conductor has been told to stay quiet and needs time plus the right cues to bring the full orchestra back to full volume. And it highlights why consistent blood work is non-negotiable. Tracking markers like LH, FSH, total and free testosterone, estradiol, TSH, free T3 and free T4 gives you real visibility into how well the entire axis is functioning instead of guessing based on how you feel. This knowledge lets you work with your body instead of constantly fighting against its survival programming. This is episode 2 of the Endocrine Mastery series. Next we'll cover the thyroid gland, the metabolic engine that receives its marching orders directly from the pituitary and has one of the biggest influences on your ability to build muscle and lose fat. Hey folks, I want to thank you so much for sticking around and watching this video. I truly appreciate your time. This is Coach Malcolm. Have a wonderful night.